What's going on, guys? I'm Jaye the Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about what can be learned in this situation with Tory Lanez. Now, I'll put a link in the description and the comment section to the video I did about Tory Lanez responding to the criticism that he's been getting, not only from fans of Meg Thee Stallion or just casual people, but also with the media, with other rappers, people taking them off songs. He went through it, man, and he stayed quiet until he released this album, and he spoke all of his thoughts on there. And there were people who really liked the album. They thought he was being as honest as he could in that situation. There are other things that are being left out. Let's just be real. There's other things being left out. But he spoke his side and he denied everything. Even though there are people who don't want to believe him, even though there are people who still think he did something, there are reports coming out about the findings, and they are trying to use that to go at him. Now, I also want to say this too, because I don't want to make this video and not address it. There was a recent report that came out about a situation with Meg. I don't buy that report. If I can't see it from multiple sources, so I know somebody's going to bring it up, I'm not even going to acknowledge it until I see multiple sources that I trust. And that's a lot. I'm not really going to. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely. But in this situation, I can't really add to something if it's not there enough for me. But be that as it may, I want to talk about what can be learned. Because, to be honest, us as men, especially as melanated men, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. But we also have to be strong. We cannot back down. We cannot bend the knee to the outrage mob. And that was one thing that Tory Lanez didn't do. He just didn't say anything. He allowed other people to say things about him, to take him off songs, to just distance themselves from him. There were people wondering whether he would ever be able to make music again. This is America. If 6ix9ine can send all those brothers away, tell on any and everybody, and get out and still be able to make music and have fans, do you really believe that Tory would not have an opportunity to do the same thing? Now, and that's with what we know now. Also what we knew then, but more so what we know now. Now, again, there's always going to be this person's part, that person's part, and then it's the middle, right? But in this situation, I do think the truth is always in the middle. But when you don't bend the knee to the outrage mob, when you don't apologize, when you don't plead for forgiveness, they're going to come at you. And you have to be strong, especially as a melanated man. You have to be strong because they look for opportunities to go at us. They look for opportunities to destroy us. They get off on that. They get off of being able to say, you can no longer have a career. We're going to cancel you. If you don't beg for forgiveness, if you don't bend the knee, we're going to make you do it. You know why? Because we're going to dangle your career in front of you, not understanding that this guy has a whole fan base that rocks with him. And even after that situation happened, there were people rocking with him saying, hey, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't believe what's being said because everything is one-sided. And I think a lot of men need to understand that you have the opportunity to stand up for yourself. You have the opportunity to not bend the knee. You have an opportunity to be a man. You have an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm not going to cower to these people. I'm not going to cower to these people. I'm going to stand up for myself. Another thing is, and I've said this before, protect your name and reputation at all costs. It's one of the laws of power, of course, but I do believe that every man should protect their name, their reputation, their livelihood, especially if you have kids, especially if you have a family to take care of. You have to be able to protect your name. You have to be able to protect what you have built, because there are going to be people who come along who don't like you anyway, who are going to try to destroy everything you've worked hard to build for yourself, coming up from nothing to something. And you have to protect it. You have to fight for what you have built. There are people who are so cowardly and they will go in the tank very quickly because they don't have any fight in them. They don't. They're very weak. You have a lot of weak people out here, fake strong people out here who are tough on social media. But at the first sign of trouble, when somebody's throwing dirt on their name, they're going to cower. Tory did not do that. And that's the one thing I can say is that he is willing to put out an album to protect his name and reputation. And I think a lot of us as men have got to protect who we are. We cannot allow people to say things about us that we know are not true. That we know that they are trying to put things out there to destroy who I am. We have seen people's names get muddied in entertainment, whether it be rappers, singers, in sports with athletes. Like, prime example, people did not like Barry Bonds, right? The media did not like him. They wrote books about him. They did everything they could to drag this man's name through the mud. Now, after he retired, you didn't hear much of anything about Barry Bonds anymore. Why is that? Because he was chasing the record of all-time home runs. They did not like the fact that he was arrogant. They did not like the fact that, he stood on his own too. He didn't care about pandering to them. And they did everything they could to destroy his name and reputation. Now, there were times where Barry spoke up, but Barry just said, you know what? It's not worth it. And they went away. I'm not saying that he cowered. What I'm saying is this. When people don't like you, they're going to say whatever they want to say about you regardless. So you can either move forward or you can seek their approval. And too many people seek the approval of the lamestream media. They seek the approval of other artists or athletes, and they're willing to cower. Another example of cowardice. Look at Drew Brees. Drew Brees made a comment about respecting the flag, and then you had all these people come at him. You had Maria Taylor go on TV and talk about how he is a discriminator. Okay? You had his own teammates call him out. So much so that not only is he apologizing and begging for forgiveness, his wife is doing the same thing. He's responding to Trump, just cowering. And he's 1 year away from retirement. He's thinking about retiring after the season. Bro, what do you have to lose? You've built a nice fortune for yourself. Financially, you're going to be all right, unless you're trying to go into TV. But what is the point if you know you're about to walk away from the game? Why are you bending the knee to these people? Who cares if they don't like your stance? Now, I know that those comments came out right around the time of the heightened quote unquote tensions that are manufactured. But still, you have to stand on your own 2 feet. You cannot allow these people to back you into a corner and make you apologize when all you were doing is making an innocent comment about respecting the flag. Whether you agree with it or not, whether I agree with somebody's stance on something or not, I'm not going to ask for an apology. What is an apology going to do? All it does is build resentment, slowly but surely. Maybe not by that person, but by the people who actually like that person. And that, I believe, is what's happening with Tory Lanez fans. I've seen Tory Lanez fans go at the Meg Thee Stallion fans, or this, that, and the third. But also, I would say this too, with Tory and even with the Meg situation. Control your alcohol. I think alcohol had a lot to do with the back and forth. I do think that in a situation when you're with a female who's very hostile, you have to understand your surroundings, man, and maybe you need to distance yourself from that person, especially if you've been drinking. Because what's going to happen is if you can't control your alcohol, man, it's going to put you in bad situations, man, to where you don't even really 100% know what you may have done or not done. But one thing Tory does know is that he did not do anything violent towards Meg, Also, too, I would say this to a lot of guys, man. Don't date women with issues. it is very clear that he was dealing with a female that had issues. It was very clear that she has issues with herself with alcohol. Speaking of controlling alcohol. And because of that, you're dealing with somebody who mentally is just not in the right place. They're just not in the right place. And going out with this person, partying with them or whatnot, and you're sleeping with this person, it's a recipe for disaster. It is. There are women out here with clear mental issues. Meg is one of them. And I think, though, I'm going to say mentally, I'm just saying with issues stemming from what happened with her mother, the label situation, and the fact that she likes to self-medicate with alcohol. And she's been known to put her hands on dudes. You know, people want to bring up Tory's background, but we're not going to bring up Meg's background and what she has admitted to doing. See, it's easy to vilify the man. This is why us as men, especially us as melanated men, we have to be very careful of how we conduct ourselves, because we're always under a microscope. You give us some money, some fame, we're going to be under even a bigger microscope, because people look to us to fail. They want to see us fail. They don't want to see us happy, because you have a lot of miserable people out here. They don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you progress. They don't want to see you doing better than them. It could be other men who feel that way. Rick Ross, you got J.R. Smith, you got two of these males who are attention seekers. You got Rick Ross, who's using this situation to promote his businesses. You got J.R. Smith, who needs to be concerned with his wife and the breakdown that she had because of what he did, concerning himself with things that actually matter. Somebody else's situation don't matter. Why put yourself in the middle of it unless you're trying to appease or you're trying to impress this chick? Which unfortunately happens. You have a lot of these guys that are willing to throw other men under the bus in order to impress a female who ain't even checking for them like that. But that's just where we are. We all can use things in our lives to learn from, you know. And hopefully Tory has learned from this, and hopefully other people on the outside can look at this and learn something from it too.